Yeah, the thing I find most tricky is when people don't recognize you particularly, but half recognize you.
Yeah, you've laughed at him for decades. You've shared memes, watched his silent antics, and maybe even tried copying his ridiculous expressions. But behind the silent face of Mr. Bean was something far more complicated. Rowan Atkinson, the man behind the character that made millions laugh across the globe, has finally revealed the truth, something we all suspected, but never dared to ask. At 70, he's opening up about the man behind the mask, the boy who stuttered so badly that classmates called him the alien, and how that pain transformed him into the most beloved comedian of our time. What most people don't realize is that Mr. Bean, the goofy, almost childlike character, almost destroyed the man who created him. Rowan's stutter, anxiety, and childhood trauma all shaped the silent genius of Mr. Bean. But the story doesn't stop there. Atkinson has always been more than just Mr. Bean. He's a man who conquered fears, mastered physical comedy, and secretly battled exhaustion while the world laughed. Today, we'll explore the real story of Rowan Atkinson, from the bullied boy in County Durham to the global icon, and the shocking revelation at 70 that changes everything we thought we knew about Mr. Bean. Rowan Sebastian Atkinson was born on January 6, 1955, in Consett, a quiet town in County Durham, England. He was the youngest of 4 boys, though tragedy touched his family early. His eldest brother, Paul, died as a baby, leaving just 3 siblings. From an early age, Rowan faced challenges most kids never imagined. By the time he was 5, he developed a severe stutter, a speech problem that would haunt him for years. At school, classmates were cruel. Canon John Grove, who taught at Durham Choristers School, remembered Rowan as a shy boy with a rubbery, expressive face, and a stutter that made him an easy target. Some kids even called him the alien because of his strange expressions and awkward way of speaking. Tony Blair, 2 years younger and later the UK Prime Minister, recalled how difficult life was for Rowan. He spent much of his childhood alone, isolated, and misunderstood, but that pain would later become his greatest tool. Oddly enough, when Rowan performed, even as a young student, his stutter vanished. On stage, he could speak freely, act physically, and transform into a completely different person. That realization became the first step in turning personal suffering into comedic genius. Despite his challenges, Rowan excelled academically. He earned top grades in science A-levels and, in 1973, joined Newcastle University to study electrical and electronic engineering. Everyone assumed he would become an engineer or scientist, but comedy was quietly calling his name. After graduating from Newcastle University in 1975, Rowan followed his father's footsteps and enrolled at the Queen's College, Oxford, for a master's in electrical engineering. His focus? A highly technical area called self-tuning control systems. He even began a PhD but never finished. Something else was tugging at him, a need to perform. It was at Oxford that Rowan joined the drama club and a review group called the ETC. There, he met Richard Curtis, a young writer who would later become his lifelong collaborator. Curtis saw a shy, quiet man standing in the corner, but when Rowan performed, it was pure magic. His sketches, full of physical comedy and quirky expressions, left the audience in awe. In 1976, Rowan performed with the Oxford Revue at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. The show was a breakthrough. Audiences saw a shy boy-turned-performer, and Rowan discovered the power of silence, facial expressions, and body language. The painful moments of his childhood, the stutter, the bullying, became the raw material for comedy. Yet, despite his growing passion for performance, Rowan didn't abandon his engineering background. He continued his research, published a thesis in 1978, and later used that knowledge in unexpected ways, like advocating for electric vehicle technology. But comedy was becoming his true calling. The stage was where he finally felt alive. Rowan's early career was anything but smooth. His first major BBC radio show, The Atkinson People, aired in 1979. He played multiple fictional characters, from philosophers to quirky inventors, with Richard Curtis as a writer and Griff Rhys-Jones as producer. Critics noticed his talent, but the show aired in a poor time slot, and very few listeners tuned in. Even then, Rowan faced repeated rejections from the BBC. His stutter returned during auditions and interviews, intensifying his frustration. There were moments he considered giving up entirely and returning to engineering. But he had discovered something crucial: he didn't have to speak perfectly as himself. Characters like Mr. Bean allowed him to express humor without the burden of fluent speech. In 1979, he returned to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, performing a mostly silent show reminiscent of Buster Keaton. Some walked out, confused, but others recognized a genius in physical comedy. That moment cemented Rowan's path. Television would eventually follow, but only if he could master this silent, expressive style. By 1979, Rowan got his first big TV break with Not the 9 O'Clock News. The show initially flopped. Critics hated it, viewers ignored it. Mel Smith, his co-star, even called the first half-hour the worst TV ever. But one person in the BBC saw the potential and ordered another series, saving Rowan's career. The show allowed Rowan to experiment with multiple characters, from satirical sketches to comedy songs like I Like Trucking, which became a minor hit. Working with friends like Griff Rhys-Jones and Mel Smith, Rowan honed his craft, developing the physicality and timing that would later define Mr. Bean. Yet behind the laughter, Rowan struggled. The pressure, long hours, and anxiety took a toll. His perfectionist nature pushed him to exhaustion. But the experience taught him something vital: comedy could be precise, clever, and physically demanding, and he was capable of it all. In 1983, Rowan launched Blackadder, co-created with Richard Curtis. He played Prince Edmund, a cunning and sarcastic character navigating absurd historical situations. The show's first season was expensive, ambitious, and risky. Filming in castles, managing large casts, and enduring bad weather nearly derailed the production. Critics were skeptical, but the International Emmy Award gave the BBC confidence to continue. By the second season in 1986, everything changed: tighter scripts, smaller sets, and sharper jokes. Rowan carried the show, with Miranda Richardson, Hugh Laurie, and Tony Robinson providing perfect chemistry. Blackadder was a turning point. It allowed Rowan to explore satire, clever dialogue, and character-driven comedy, showing the world he was more than just a silent performer. The series became iconic, with the final season set during World War I, balancing humor and tragedy in a way no one expected. By 1990, Rowan created the character the world now knows as Mr. Bean. The first episode aired on January 1st and instantly became a global phenomenon. What made Mr. Bean extraordinary was its near silence. Rowan's expressive face, physical comedy, and universal humor transcended language and culture. Mr. Bean's success wasn't just luck. Rowan had spent decades perfecting the art of nonverbal performance, learning how to communicate emotions, pain, and humor without words. Yet the character came at a cost. Rowan admitted that performing as Mr. Bean was emotionally exhausting. Every episode drained him. The responsibility of making millions laugh was heavy. Still, the world adored him. The show was sold in 245 countries, and episodes like The Trouble with Mr. Bean drew tens of millions of viewers. The silent genius of Rowan Atkinson had reached every corner of the globe, but the man behind the mask was quietly struggling. In 1997, Mr. Bean hit the big screen with Bean, earning over $251 million worldwide. The physical comedy translated perfectly to film, with Rowan performing stunts himself. International audiences loved it, breaking box office records in Australia, the UK, and Germany. Rowan later expanded his career with films like Four Weddings and a Funeral, 1994, and the Johnny English series, blending physical comedy, subtle wit, and clever parody. Yet, even amid worldwide fame, Rowan remained painfully aware of the effort required to maintain the characters audiences adored. Rowan's personal life has been quieter but no less complex. He met Sunetra Sastry, a makeup artist on Blackadder, in the late 1980s and married her in 1990. They had 2 children, Lily and Benjamin, but separated in 2014, divorcing the following year. Rowan's private life often made headlines, but he managed to maintain dignity and privacy. A terrifying moment in 2001 highlighted his courage. While flying in Kenya, their private pilot fainted midair. Rowan, with no flying experience, took control and landed the plane safely, protecting his family. Moments like these reveal the man behind the laughter, a perfectionist, problem solver, and dedicated father. Now, at 70, Rowan Atkinson has finally confirmed what many suspected: he never fully enjoyed playing Mr. Bean. The silent, globally adored character brought fame and fortune, but it also brought emotional exhaustion. Rowan admitted that the role was draining, physically demanding, and sometimes made him feel like a fraud. Yet, he also acknowledged its significance. Mr. Bean allowed him to conquer his childhood stutter, communicate universally, and leave a lasting mark on comedy. The revelation reminds fans that behind the laughter, comedians often struggle privately, and true genius often comes from personal pain. Rowan Atkinson's story is more than the story of Mr. Bean. It's the journey of a boy who stuttered, a man who conquered fear, and a genius who turned pain into laughter. From Blackadder to Mr. Bean, from radio sketches to international films, Rowan's life shows how discipline, resilience, and creativity can overcome trauma. At 70, he has finally opened up, confirming what fans long suspected: the laughter came at a cost, but it was worth it. Rowan Atkinson remains one of the greatest comedians of all time, a silent hero who taught the world that sometimes, the most profound stories are told without words. While the world saw Mr. Bean as a carefree, mischievous character, the reality behind the scenes was very different. Rowan revealed that every movement, expression, and gesture was meticulously planned. Unlike other comedians who relied on improvisation, he would rehearse routines for hours, sometimes days, to make every moment perfect. Even though Mr. Bean rarely spoke, Rowan had to convey emotions, thoughts, and humor solely through physical comedy. That meant every facial twitch, eye roll, and body flop had to communicate exactly what he wanted. The pressure was intense. Rowan admitted that filming even a short episode could leave him physically and emotionally drained for days. Behind the cameras, the team noticed his perfectionist streak. Directors often had to reassure him that it looked fine, but Rowan would insist on one more take. This dedication to craft is part of why Mr. Bean became timeless. While audiences laughed effortlessly, they were witnessing years of discipline, pain, and precision. By 2002, Rowan found a solution to the physical strain: the Mr. Bean animated series. Running from 2002 to 2004 with 52 episodes, the animated format allowed Rowan to continue his iconic role without the intense physical effort. He only needed to provide the voice, while animators handled the rest. The series introduced new characters and modern situations, making it relevant for a younger audience. It aired on CITV and quickly became a hit. For Rowan, it was a relief and a blessing. The work remained fun, but it no longer left him exhausted. Fans loved it, and the character's legacy continued without compromise to Rowan's well-being. The animated series proved that Mr. Bean could evolve. It also demonstrated Rowan's understanding of long-term career sustainability, something few comedians at his level ever consider. He balanced fame, health, and artistic integrity, a lesson many entertainers could learn from. One of the most unforgettable moments in Rowan's career came during the 2012 London Olympics opening ceremony. He reprised Mr. Bean in a live comedy sketch during Chariots of Fire. Millions watched in awe, 26.9 million in the UK alone, and 900 million worldwide. The performance was magical, but it came at a cost. Rowan admitted he was drained for weeks afterward. The live sketch demanded perfect timing, precise physicality, and flawless execution in front of a massive global audience. It wasn't just acting, it was a test of endurance and skill. This appearance reminded fans of the dedication behind the laughter. Mr. Bean was no longer just a TV character, it was a global phenomenon, and Rowan was still willing to give everything for the perfect performance, even decades into his career. While Mr. Bean defined Rowan's early fame, he never let himself be typecast. In 2003, he starred in Johnny English, a spy parody blending physical comedy, wit, and clever action sequences. The movie earned $160 million worldwide on a $40 million budget, proving Rowan's versatility. He reprised the role in Johnny English Reborn, 2011, and Johnny English Strikes Again, 2018. Each sequel introduced modern technology, cybercrime plots, and high-energy stunts, all infused with Rowan's unique comedic style. His background in engineering even allowed him to add depth and realism to his performance. Beyond Johnny English, he appeared in films like Four Weddings and a Funeral, 1994, where his nervous priest became an iconic comedic moment. Rowan's ability to balance subtle humor with physical comedy made him relevant across decades, proving he was more than just Mr. Bean. Rowan's personal life has had its highs and lows. He married Sunetra Sastry, a makeup artist on Blackadder, in 1990. They had 2 children, Lily and Benjamin. For 24 years, the marriage seemed stable, but in 2014, they separated. Their divorce was finalized in 2015, and Sunetra accused Rowan of unreasonable behavior. At the same time, Rowan quietly began a relationship with Louise Ford, a younger actress. The media storm was intense. Fans were shocked to see the man who made the world laugh quietly rebuild his personal life. Despite the scrutiny, Rowan remained dignified and private, showing that even global icons navigate love, heartbreak, and family challenges. Rowan's courage extends beyond comedy. In 2001, while flying in Kenya, the private pilot fainted midair. With no flying experience, Rowan grabbed the controls and safely landed the plane in Nairobi. This terrifying moment showcased his calm under pressure, quick thinking, and protective instincts. Many fans didn't know about this incident, but it perfectly illustrated the man behind the laughter, a quiet hero, capable of extraordinary action when needed. Now, at 70, Rowan Atkinson has finally confirmed what fans long suspected: the joy we felt watching Mr. Bean came at a personal cost. The character, beloved worldwide, was emotionally and physically draining. Rowan admitted that he sometimes felt like a fraud, performing tirelessly while privately struggling. But he also embraced the truth: the role saved him from his stutter, allowed him to communicate universally, and left a legacy no one could ignore. It's a reminder that genius often comes from struggle, and even the happiest laughter has a backstory. Rowan's candidness at 70 gives fans a deeper understanding of the man behind the mask. Mr. Bean wasn't just a character, he was a lifelong journey of pain, perseverance, and unparalleled comedic genius. Rowan Atkinson has always approached comedy with a precision rarely seen in performers. Unlike many comedians who rely on improvisation or one-liners, Rowan views comedy as a science of timing, movement, and expression. Every pause, every gesture, every facial twitch is calculated to produce the maximum comedic effect. He once explained in interviews that physical comedy is about clarity of intention. The audience must instantly understand what the character is thinking, feeling, or planning, without a single word. This philosophy shaped Mr. Bean, whose global success proves the power of universal, silent comedy. For Rowan, comedy is also deeply personal. His childhood stutter taught him that humor could transform pain into connection. Every laugh, every applause, was proof that the struggle was meaningful. This approach has influenced generations of comedians, showing that discipline, empathy, and observation are as important as natural talent. Mr. Bean and Blackadder didn't just entertain, they shaped comedy worldwide. Silent comedy, physical gags, and character-driven humor saw a resurgence thanks to Rowan. Comedians across Europe, Asia, and America cite his work as inspiration. The simplicity of Mr. Bean, almost no dialogue, universal themes, exaggerated expressions, made it easier for audiences of all ages and languages to connect. This approach is now visible in films, animation, and sketches globally. Even in internet culture, memes and viral videos often echo Rowan's comedic timing and facial expressions. Rowan's influence also extends behind the camera. Many writers and directors cite his meticulous planning and collaborative approach as a model for achieving high-quality comedy. While his peers often relied on improvisation, Rowan's attention to detail shows that comedy can be both art and craft. Rowan Atkinson is famously private, rarely sharing his personal life with the media. But in rare interviews, he revealed insights that shock, inspire, and humanize the silent comedian. He admitted that the pressure of Mr. Bean made him feel like a fraud, even at the height of fame. He confessed to moments of anxiety, physical exhaustion, and self-doubt. Yet, he also celebrated the freedom comedy gave him, the ability to communicate emotions and stories across barriers that words alone could never bridge. One striking observation Rowan shared is that comedy is a reflection of life's absurdity. Pain, struggle, and embarrassment often fuel humor. In Mr. Bean, audiences saw their own frustrations, awkwardness, and failures, but transformed into something light, funny, and harmless. These interviews remind fans that Rowan Atkinson's genius isn't just in the laughs he created, it's in the intelligence, sensitivity, and resilience behind them. Few characters have left a global footprint like Mr. Bean. The series has been broadcast in over 245 countries, translated into dozens of languages, and adapted into animation, film, and stage performances. Beyond entertainment, Mr. Bean became a symbol of universal comedy. Children, adults, and seniors could all enjoy the antics without language being a barrier. His influence even extends to modern internet culture, where GIFs, memes, and viral videos keep his gestures alive in daily communication. Rowan Atkinson's creation also inspired educators, therapists, and performers. Studies show that Mr. Bean can teach nonverbal communication, emotional awareness, and timing. The character's simplicity hides a sophisticated understanding of human behavior, proving Rowan's genius went far beyond mere slapstick. Despite global fame, Rowan Atkinson carefully protected his privacy. He rarely appears on talk shows, avoids unnecessary social media, and keeps his family life out of the spotlight. This balance allowed him to maintain mental health, focus on his craft, and avoid the pitfalls of celebrity culture. Rowan's life shows that artistic integrity and personal boundaries can coexist. While millions laughed at Mr. Bean, he maintained control over his career, ensuring he never compromised his values for the sake of fame or profit. He has often emphasized that comedy should be respected as a profession, not just entertainment. This perspective explains why he remained disciplined, never rushed projects, and carefully curated each performance, whether on stage, screen, or animation. At 70, Rowan Atkinson's revelations remind us that genius is often invisible. The boy who stuttered, the man who faced anxiety, and the performer who drained himself for global laughter is not just a comedian, he is a storyteller, innovator, and survivor. Mr. Bean, Blackadder, and Johnny English are not just entertainment, they are reflections of Rowan's journey through pain, discipline, and resilience. He transformed personal struggles into art, making millions laugh while quietly confronting his own fears. His honesty at 70 confirms what fans long suspected: the laughter we loved came at a cost. But it also created a legacy that will endure for generations, a reminder that the silent, awkward boy from County Durham became a global icon because he understood the human heart, timing, and the power of a well-placed pause. Most fans think Mr. Bean's antics were effortless, but behind the camera, they were anything but. Rowan Atkinson spent hours perfecting every fall, every slapstick gag, and every exaggerated reaction. Physical comedy is deceptively difficult. One misstep could ruin a scene, cause injury, or make the joke fall flat. Rowan often rehearsed routines dozens of times before filming. Even minor facial expressions were scrutinized until they perfectly conveyed the humor. He admitted that performing Mr. Bean was emotionally exhausting, because the character demanded not just timing, but precision, control, and constant awareness of the audience's perception. In interviews, Rowan revealed that he sometimes felt trapped by the character. The responsibility of entertaining millions worldwide added immense pressure. Yet, it also gave him a sense of purpose, a way to transform childhood trauma and his stutter into laughter that connected across borders. This dedication explains why Mr. Bean is still iconic today. Each movement, pause, and expression reflects decades of experience, study, and trial. The character might seem simple, but its creation required the mind of a strategist and the heart of a performer. Few know that many iconic Mr. Bean scenes were born out of improvisation or serendipity. For example, in one famous sequence where Bean tries to change seats at a church, Rowan experimented with multiple approaches to maximize awkwardness and timing. The final take, now legendary, almost didn't happen. On the set of Blackadder, too, Rowan displayed a unique combination of discipline and creativity. He often rewrote sketches on the spot or suggested adjustments to camera angles to improve comedic effect. Collaborators described him as meticulous yet collaborative, always seeking perfection while respecting the team's input. Even in Johnny English, Rowan's engineering background informed his stunts and action sequences. He understood mechanics, timing, and spatial awareness, which allowed him to perform daring physical comedy safely. Fans rarely see this side of Rowan, the careful planning and preparation behind every seemingly effortless gag. These behind-the-scenes stories highlight Rowan's dedication and professionalism. He didn't rely on luck, he crafted each moment with precision, blending intellect with humor in a way few performers could ever achieve. Rowan Atkinson's success with Mr. Bean wasn't just about physical comedy, it was about silent storytelling. He understood that humor can transcend language, culture, and age when communicated through gestures, expressions, and timing. He once explained that the essence of silent comedy lies in clarity and empathy. The audience must immediately grasp the character's intention, even without dialogue. Mr. Bean works because every motion is deliberate, every expression is exaggerated yet relatable, and every interaction taps into universal human experiences, embarrassment, frustration, joy, and curiosity. This philosophy extends beyond entertainment. Rowan believes that comedy is a mirror to life's absurdities. By exaggerating the awkward, the painful, or the ridiculous, comedians like him allow audiences to laugh at their own vulnerabilities. It's a lesson Rowan has carried throughout his career: humor can heal, connect, and communicate in ways words alone cannot. Mr. Bean isn't just a TV character, it's a global cultural phenomenon. The series has aired in over 245 countries, and even decades later, children and adults alike continue to watch, imitate, and enjoy his antics. Rowan Atkinson's influence extends to modern comedians, actors, and creators worldwide. His work inspired countless performers to embrace physical comedy and nonverbal storytelling, showing that humor is not limited to clever dialogue or verbal wit. Even on the internet, Mr. Bean lives on. GIFs, memes, and viral videos frequently feature his gestures, facial expressions, and iconic scenarios. Rowan's creation has transcended its original medium, becoming part of global pop culture, teaching new generations about timing, humor, and emotional resonance. At the same time, Rowan's story reminds fans that behind every laugh is hard work, dedication, and personal struggle. His childhood stutter, social anxiety, and perfectionism fueled his creativity, shaping him into the performer the world now adores. At 70, Rowan Atkinson finally spoke openly about his journey. He confirmed what many fans had long suspected: creating laughter came at a personal cost. The man behind Mr. Bean invested decades of emotional and physical energy into perfecting a character that transcended language and culture. Yet, Rowan also embraced the joy his work brought to the world. He turned childhood trauma, stuttering, and awkwardness into universal laughter, a gift that will endure long after he retires. His candid reflections remind audiences that genius often grows from struggle, and that the most memorable art often carries unseen challenges behind the scenes. Rowan Atkinson's legacy is not just the laughs he created, it's the discipline, intelligence, and emotional depth behind every performance. He is a reminder that comedy, at its core, is about connection, empathy, and storytelling, even when words are unnecessary. Rowan Atkinson is not only a master of facial expressions and timing, but also a daring physical performer. While Mr. Bean often looks clumsy on screen, every stunt was carefully planned and rehearsed. He treated each sequence like a choreographed dance, where one small misstep could ruin the joke, or worse, cause an injury. During the filming of Bean, the movie, Rowan performed a sequence where Mr. Bean crashes through a department store. Multiple takes were required, and he sometimes collided with props or sets. Crew members noted that he often insisted on one more take until the action perfectly matched his comedic vision. Despite the exhaustion, Rowan saw value in pushing himself. He believed that authenticity made the humor resonate. The pratfalls, awkward fall.